The difference between a brand and a logo, they first of all, they work together in conjunction to build the bigger picture. But most people will assume that a logo is a brand, and it's just one part of the brand. So what is a brand? A brand is something that subconsciously makes people feel a certain way about a business. If you build them properly, they can give consumers and the buyers of those services, products, or organizations, what have you, give them a sense of what it is before they even actually buy into it. Well, like Starbucks, you can like the coffee or not, but you walk into that place and it has a certain feeling. You've got, the coffee cups have, very textural kind of slips on them, and it builds a mystique about it. And in some cases, it becomes more about how you present it than the actual product itself. The logo, on the other hand, is very critical to that, but it's just one small part of a much bigger picture that makes up the brand. Some logos are very front and center, detailed, and they carry the weight of the brand. Others we've worked on are simple word marks that just play along with the rest of the brand and support it that way. Take a billboard. You only have enough, so much room on the billboard, and typically you try to keep it to three things. You've got something that's front and center, something that's in the middle, and then you've got the supporting background. Sometimes the logo's in the background, sometimes it's in the front, but all together, they make up your brand. Mistakes that clients make with logos, it's just being more aware. Again, going back to the brand, being more aware of what your message is. So does the logo support what it is that you do? Does it support your mission, whether it's selling a product, service, people? Does it support that the right way? What colors do you use? Colors are huge. You take something that may have, or a company that may have something to do with the environment or something to do with agriculture. You probably want to use green, even though that's a little bit cliche, but that right out of the gate gives a person a piece of the puzzle is what this company does. Another mistake is complexity. Depending on where the logo is being used, if it's super complex and it's on the side of a truck going by at 70 miles an hour, you're not going to read it. You can't possibly see it. Whereas if your business is primarily online or in the digital, something that you might be able to hold on a tablet and see up close, you've got more time to tell more of a story in that logo. So detail is fine. And I would say also just overall readability. There's a phrase, simple or keep it simple, stupid. That really plays a part in logos too. Some of the more powerful ones, they're not overly detailed. Again, they're supporting the bigger picture, which is the brand. So overall, choosing the right colors, complexity, making sure you tell the right story in the logo, and even before you start that, figure out what your brand's about to be able to determine, do I really need to go over the top with this, or is this just a part of a much larger picture? Maybe we just keep it simple. Considering color and size in a logo is extremely important. Again, based on where it's being used. Is it primarily digital, or is it primarily traditional? Traditional being print, packaging, collateral, brochures, things of that nature. Or is it an online business that is primarily doing e-marketing and things of that nature? Again, when we're working with clients, typically what we do is we give them multiple options. So a logo might not actually be just a logo. It may be part of a system that can be, depending on where it's being used, can be a horizontal format, a vertical format, maybe just a watermark or the main icon or image that's in it, maybe a monogram, something of that nature. So having a system, I know that's a little bit off tangent, but I think having a system helps that a lot. Because you're able to kind of pick and choose what you use, where you use it. And I think you mentioned color too. Color, again, depending on the type of business and what you're doing, if you get super complex with it, but find that the majority of your marketing is going to be cut vinyl or like embroidering on shirts. You know, there are physical limitations as to how detailed you can get with that mark in that capacity. Whereas if you're printing, you know, the sky's the limit. Everyone that we work with, and again, this is just, you know, any company like ours might have a different approach, but we find that it's the best thing to do is to not just, all right, come back in a day and tell us exactly what you want, because you're being put on the spot. Take some time. First place you want to look at is your competition. What are they doing? If they're using, you know, again, just simplifying things, if they're using red and lots of it, and the name might be similar in some fashion, you probably want to use a different color to separate yourself from them. So that doesn't so much tell you what you want it to look like, it tells you what it shouldn't be. So knowing what it shouldn't be is almost as important as knowing what it should be. Kind of identifying those things, but absolutely checking your competition out. And then the other thing that we have them do is just spend some time filling their mind's eye, looking at things that could be completely unrelated to what they are. You know, the client may have a strong aesthetic, you know, pull to a coffee company or a brewery that they've seen. You know, little triggers like that, at least as a designer, can point us in the right direction that, you know, they're looking for something that is vintage, or they're looking for something that is floral or might have some different characteristics to it. And that for us, I mean, helps us identify what the client wants, but if the client is trying to do it on their own, you definitely want to look at your competition, and you don't want to limit yourself to looking at just same types of businesses. Look at other things. There are things that you can pull from completely different industries that may work for your business.